Hi, Joshua. I'm Matt Mahler with MovieWeb. It's a pleasure to speak with you today. Thank you for taking the time.
Of course, of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this was it's a hypnotic movie. It feels like it's watching you as much as you're watching it. I really, it's transgressive in a way that you don't see a lot, at least anymore. You and your editor, Star Rosencrantz, had been to some of the locations previously for music videos or photography. Some of those photos are on your social media. Were you sort of piecing together the film in your mind at all? Was it an idea as you were encountering them? And what was sort of the common denominator of these locations for you?
Yeah, no, great question. I've been going out there for like something like over 20 years. That same general area, the Mojave Desert, and I've just always been drawn back to it. I keep going back to it, and I've done a number of projects with Star, a couple of music videos that we shot out there, a couple of short films that we made out there, and as I was, you start to get, along the way, those sparks of the idea, you know, happen. And it was really cool when, you know, initially my idea was I'm going to since I've been fascinated by that area, I was like, I really wanted to start the script about this photographer, but I didn't know necessarily what was going to happen to him. So I started going back to some of these places, but also discovering a lot of new places and was photographing them as if I was that character. And from there, that was the real springboard of understanding what was ultimately going to happen to Alex, the photographer character in the movie.
And the title, A Desert, the combination of the Ty Segall score and the cinematography, it really captures a mood. How does the desert itself sort of connect with the film and the nature of cinema, maybe in general, because this movie is so much about that.
Yeah, there's been a lot that's been written about the desert and its relationship to cinema. I mean, if you go back to some of the work, of Baudrillard. He's written a lot about America and the desert. And, there's a number of things in his writings on America and the desert in particular that got really excited about. Like he talks about the two-lane blacktop of like the desert road going by like a film strip. And that's something that I've tried to do my own version of that in parts of the movie, and how time operates in the desert, how silence and sound and the cacophony of sound in the desert operates. There's these very bold contrasting elements in the desert. It's cold, it's hot. A ton of movies have been shot out in the desert, but it's also like whether it's a Western or it's science fiction. I mean, these are like these like polar opposites. And then you even look at like the sort of primordial geological makeup of the desert. It's like it's water eroding the ground. I mean, again, these opposites, the heat, the cold, all of that, it makes for this really interesting landscape where I think you can kind of project a lot of things on literally, and figuratively. And I think it's just this, it's kind of anything you want it to be and nothing at the same time.
Yeah, I have that book right over there. America, that book, the
Yeah.
Baudrillard one, and yeah, it's a great reference point. Just the the images there. And also, I think of the great road trip movies, American road trips, and structurally, the film references Psycho, but is there more to Psycho's connection than that for you?
Yeah, I mean, certainly. I mean, it's like if we're talking, Psycho is also, you think about it, it's also a desert movie. It's like it starts out in Phoenix, you end up out, they kind of go through you don't, it's not as bleak desert, but it's, there's that kind of through line in it. She ends up, I think, near Bakersfield, so it's like more goes from, Phoenix into, whatever the fictional town is. Um, for me, what it is when I was out photographing and finding out who this character was, I kept coming across all these movie theaters, abandoned movie theaters, drive-in movie theaters. And there's something also, you see these billboards that are out there that are even blank, and then it started, you pass these and I start to think about the movie screen and commerce and, okay, I've got this photographer character. What's our relationship to images? How do images operate? How is there a way I can start to incorporate this into something that is about more than just like this happens to this guy and some other things happen, but like at the root of it, what is our relationship to movies? And so much about, because I probably watched way too much television and I watched way too many movies, sometimes my life experience is, very shaded by my experience from movies. So like for example, like you're driving down the road and there's a hitchhiker, you know, my mind immediately goes to this is a guy that is going to kill me and, do something horrible, right? Because in the movies, it's never like, oh, this is a benevolent force that's going to like good is going to happen. So I like this idea of like, what is our relationship to movies and like, and Psycho being one. And I have a connection with that. And then I was just like, when I got first really turned on to movies, that was one that really opened my mind a bit. And just I had a poster of it on my wall when I was in high school. And, I think I've just, you know, I can't say anything else about the movie that hasn't already been said. But I think really what it is it's like, well, as these characters are doing their own actions, it reflecting back on a very well-known plot structure. I was trying to explore our own personal relationship, or really my personal relationship with images and movies, and what can happen when you throw that all into a cauldron together. And, you know, I guess this is what
And
happens is you get a desert,
yeah, yeah, and it's bookended, by theaters. I love the opening, love the ending too. I mean, there's almost like this 2001: A Space Odyssey sort of like mind warp, but it's through the realm of, I don't know, it's self-referential to the film itself, but also this idea of images being controlling sort of our own imagination and future. Did you always
Yeah.
have that sort of radical ending in mind as a sort of trajectory once you encountered these theaters?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we experimented with the ending quite a bit without giving away too much here. The way in which it was written in the script, it was, if I remember correctly, it was something like, all right, and the bending of time and space starts to happen. And I experimented a bit trying to figure out the best way to do that. And I think ultimately it recalling some of the black and white photography that the character is known for. We play with negative and positive mirror image aspects of it. It all started to take its own shape, um, to try to approach some either, I don't know, transcendence maybe too big of a word, but try to reach for something a little bit bigger.
The nature of violence in the movie is haunting and almost accusatory, sort of in a way. I'm thinking of the end of like Salo or Man Bites Dog, just where the audience sort of feels complicit in the violence. Was that a part of it for you? Or how else did that sort of this extremely disturbing ending, where else would that have come from for you?
Yeah, I think again, it's like the way that ending is I was thinking about it is that it needed, it's what I've kind of like to think of movie ideas, right? This is a movie scenario, right? This is, I mean, there's horrible people in the world, right? But this is like a movie scenario. And being able to reference both the camera and that and tying that together, I was ultimately trying to make it feel bigger and in line with some of what we've experienced in the past with movies. I think it also needed to for it to have that visceral impact was really important too. And there were even some things that were originally in that we pulled out where I wanted it to even have a more of a visceral impact. But it started to feel like it had been pushed too far in
Yeah.
by too far I mean like in a Lucio Fulci too far.
Mm.
And that took some of the power, I think, out of that moment. So it still goes, for it. And we try not to pull, not trying to pull any punches there, but it needs to have that impact.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
And
it feels silly, right?
yeah, yeah, it couldn't. I agree. There's something it's slightly abstract enough that your mind puts together worse things. Um, I read the word nihilistic a lot and other people's takes on the film. Um, is that a word you would associate with this or with where the film goes to that sort of big evil you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's less about nihilistic in human behavior and more about what these characters represent. Um, if we're talking about movies and we're talking about the value of that now and how it functions within our culture, you know, I mean, these are big ideas that I was wrapping my head around and trying to I don't know, portray that in a different way or, and again, that might just be me up my own ass. But also, that's really where that's coming from. I like the ideas you never really understand who these people are. That's like a deliberate choice. They're more representative of movie ideas, like the Rennie character. There's all of his behavior is very much like an arc, very specific archetype in horror movies from all of the stuff that he does throughout the movie. He is very much like, I don't want to give anything away too much, but there's references, I'll just say the vampire movies, right? Everything that happens is a reference to that. So again, that is like bringing in, again, it's more conceptually about movies and these ideas of movies and some of these genre tropes and trying to play those, but play them seriously in a way that isn't like, you know, cape and fangs. Not that I dislike that stuff, by the way.
Yeah, no, definitely. And yeah, I love the ideas of the archetypes. I mean, the artist, the PI, um, I'm curious how you think the film speaks to the nature of the artist. He's kind of a sucker in a way, or a patsy, maybe. I'm not sure how you would what you would call it. And then, of course, the way things are being filmed at the end is very, disturbing. Is this a movie that's sort of parodying the serious nature of the artist themselves or anything like that?
I think, what I particularly was trying to capture with Alex is he one, he's like a working class artist. I think so many times when you see the artist in the romantic idea of an artist, or like if you see a photographer in any, let's say, neo-noir or like erotic thriller or anything like that, man, they're like living large, you know? They've got like a really cool car. They live in some loft in like New York, and you're like, I have no idea how this guy makes this kind of money. And like the artists that I know, that are real working artists, whether they're painters or photographers or, actors even, I wanted to see the artist that I know, like in the movies, you know? So that was one thing. But I think he's got like really genuine intentions. Like he wants to, you know, has this conceptual idea of what he thinks is like what he's trying to say with his artwork, with the, you know, the sort of like new topographics type of photography he's doing. But he's like, no, really, it's about the people. Like, I need to make more of a connection with the people, and maybe there's something, you know, more genuine there or more exciting to him there because he's maybe run out of, you know, he's at the end of the runway and creatively and what where he's, you know, finding any, you know, rewards with what he's been doing before. And so he invites those people in to take, you know, connect with the people, but it doesn't go well. So maybe that's the nihilistic part is that he has good intentions and he is not like highfalutin or anything like that. He's really genuinely like this is what he believes in. And yeah, just like in life, sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't, you know, and I think that's like that chaos of just like general existence in our world is really a big component in the movie too.
Yeah, chaos is an interesting way to put it too. And there's coincidence, there's happenstance in chaos. Would you say there's destiny in this film too, or is it so much a film that it just has to happen this way?
Yeah, it's funny. I never thought about like, you know, like destiny, like, you know, but yeah, of course there has to be, right? It's a movie. I mean, you know, it's been constructed, right? So there is, I guess, even though it's open-ended as to what as you know, how it's resolved, you know.
I'm curious if are you in the middle of working on anything next, and would it be image based or uh, because this seems to really have been birthed from these still images? Is that a process for you in thinking about filmmaking?
Yeah, I think, you know, project I have right now that, you know, that's out in the market is I guess they say that I'm trying to, you know, get some financing for right now is it's like that's like ecological um, you know, chamber drama mixed up in a horror sci-fi movie. So it's definitely different, but it's got, you know, and anything that I've done, I mean, I think, you know, one of the things that first got me excited about movies, I mean, I started getting excited about image making as a photographer. You know, that was like sort of my thing was like I got really into photography and then was also making music in like a punk band in high school at the time and it was like got access to recording device, you know, 4-track cassette recorder. And I was like, oh, what if I put sound with these photographs I was taking? And I was like, oh, wow, that's amazing. And it's like, well, that's a movie, man. You know, you just gotta, and then I was like, oh my gosh, movies, they're amazing. Like, you know, so everything, a lot of the, you know, impetus of some of my other ideas it sometimes starts with an image or an idea of an image as a jumping off point.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's like you discovered motion pictures in a very practical
Yeah,
way.
it's my total caveman brain of things where yeah, I mean it was like you know, I got this still camera. There was this building or like this house that burned down in like my neighborhood, and I was started taking photographs of it. And I was like, well, what if I had the sound of like fire, you know, playing in this collection of photographs on the wall? And then it became this like multimedia, very rudimentary thing, but it got me thinking about that kind of stuff. And then uh, right around the same time, I saw like some of the first movies that kind of like opened my mind. Like I saw Psycho, I saw Taxi Driver, I saw, you know, Apocalypse Now, Blue Velvet. Like I saw these all like, you know, at the time you know, as a teenager, Suspiria. And I was like, oh my God, this is what I need to be doing. This is where it's at.
Yeah, you found the key. Everyone needs to
Yeah.
find their key.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you discussing it. I look forward to everything that comes next because this is so it's unforgettable. Yeah. So
Thanks a
I
lot,
appreciate
Matt.
you.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's really great to talk to you.